At the start of the movie, we see the funeral of a boy named Darren. His classmates, teachers, and relatives are deeply grieving. But wait, Darren is actually alive, comfortably lying inside the coffin and playing a game. What's going on? Let's dive into the detailed explanation of the movie. Darren is a highly intelligent and the most famous student in his school. His parents are immensely proud of him. However, there's one flaw in Darren's life: his childhood friend, Steve. One day, Steve convinces Darren to skip history class and takes him to the school rooftop, where they start breaking light bulbs for fun. The noise attracts the history teacher, and both of them are caught. Darren's parents are furious and demand he end his friendship with Steve, but Darren refuses. The next day, on their way to school, someone in a car throws an invitation for a circus show featuring magical powers. Both friends are thrilled and decide to go. That night, at midnight, they sneak out of their homes and head to the circus. At the ticket counter, a strange creature bites Steve on the shoulder. Inside, they find many people gathered to watch the show. Soon, a tall, eerie-looking man named Mr. Tall starts hosting the show. The first act features a frightening wolf-like man who shocks the audience when he bites a woman's hand. But to everyone's surprise, her hand regenerates immediately. Next, a man named Alexander steps on stage, with his internal organs visibly exposed. Following that, a woman with rabbit-sized teeth shows her ability to pull and break objects using her teeth. Then, a man with two stomachs astonishes everyone by eating and digesting objects, including a tricycle. Later, a beautiful woman named Madame Triska approaches Darren and asks him to assist her on stage. She performs a magical act, making Darren grow a beard and mustache instantly. Meanwhile, Madame Triska tells Mr. Tall to end the show, but he insists on one last act. He introduces Larten, who performs with a colorful spider. Darren is mesmerized by the spider. Steve reveals that Larten is a vampire, a fact he had read in a book. Just then, the police arrive because performing black magic is illegal in their country. As the police raid the circus, Darren hides in a room and spots the colorful spider. He sneaks out with it. Meanwhile, Steve overhears a conversation between Larten and an old man, discussing how vampires must be prepared to fight the Vampanese, a dangerous breed that kills both vampires and humans for blood. Steve confronts Larten and asks to become a vampire, but Larten refuses after testing Steve's blood, claiming he is not suitable. Darren escapes the building and hops into a car where two Vampanese, Merlot and Mr. Tiny, are waiting. They mistakenly think Darren is someone they came to recruit. The next day, Darren takes the spider to school. Chaos ensues when the spider escapes and bites Steve, who collapses in pain. Darren rushes to Larten for help. Larten agrees to save Steve, but demands Darren become his assistant, leaving his family and friends forever. Darren reluctantly agrees. At the hospital, Larten administers an antidote to Steve, who recovers quickly. Over the next few days, Darren starts developing vampire traits, including an uncontrollable thirst for blood. He almost attacks his sister, but manages to restrain himself. Realizing he's becoming a danger to his family, Darren agrees to fake his death. Larten breaks his neck to make it believable. The movie cuts back to the present, where Darren's funeral is taking place. After everyone leaves, Larten resurrects Darren. However, Merlot arrives and tries to abduct Darren. Larten fights him off and takes Darren to a safe camp. Meanwhile, Steve is devastated by Darren's death and contemplates suicide. Mr. Tiny intervenes and reveals that Darren is alive. He invites Steve to join the Vampanese. At the camp, Mr. Tiny demands Darren be handed over, claiming he could become a major threat to the Vampanese in the future due to his unique powers. Larten, sensing danger, starts training Darren in combat techniques. Meanwhile, Steve becomes a vampire with Merlot's help and starts hunting humans, including his history teacher. Darren, too, struggles with his blood cravings. Larten teaches him to take blood responsibly without killing. Vampanese eventually attack the camp, searching for Darren. A fierce battle ensues, and Darren is taken to the circus, where his family and a girl named Rebecca are held hostage. Steve, now fully aligned with the Vampanese, confronts Darren. A fight breaks out, but Darren, weakened from not drinking blood, struggles. Rebecca insists Darren drink her blood to regain strength. Reluctantly, he agrees and defeats Steve. Meanwhile, Larten injures Merlot, but Mr. Tiny transforms him into a monstrous creature. In the end, Larten hypnotizes Darren's family to erase their memories of the events. Darren accepts the camp as his new family. The movie concludes with hints of a sequel. If you enjoyed this explanation, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.